Hello. I want to start off by asking you to reimagine what it means to be in another person's shoes. How much of another world do you really imagine? Does it really change the way you feel, and does it impact the way you think? Any shoes you want. Then, the act of empathy. Even though it's very valuable, does it actually help you understand another person? So, with my talk, I will tell you my story, and I hope that at the end you will be open to another world in which your perception changes and makes you stronger. I'll begin my talk with talking about something that affects anyone, regardless of their age, gender, country, or even economic status. It can affect anyone, from that powerful CEO to that girl next door. It may even be happening under your own roof, and you might just not be aware of it. It changes their way of life, it changes the way they feel. Yet they wouldn't tell you because they fear that if they do, they'll be seen differently, because they will. All of them can suffer from a mental illness. And even though every mental illness is different from another, all these conditions share links between anxiety and obsessiveness. This doesn't mean they're crazy, it just means that they have a condition that affects their thinking, and so on, it affects their mood and their behavior. To be completely honest, I admit that I am one of them. Even though every person with a mental disorder is different from another, as I've said before, each case is different. These things change you. They enter your mind, they change your world, and they do not let you go unless you fight very hard against them. That's easier said than done, obviously. The thing is, you become very lonely in the process. You have such a huge battle going on inside of you that it's easy to lose focus because you get consumed. The thing is, known sufferers are instantly diminished when in public. But why is that? Think about this. Diseases that come from the neck down are no less significant than ones that come from the neck up. So, originally, I was going to bore you with facts, figures, and statistics about mental illnesses, and then proceed to talking about well-being. But I realized that making you feel emotions can be far more powerful. I want you to believe in the power you have within. Believe that you are powerful enough. Believe you're strong enough. I know it's weird to listen to all of this from that little somebody you don't know. But what makes me relevant? Why is it that I'm going to say is even important? So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a 60-year-old survivor of what I told you before, of mental illnesses, but also physical. My story begins with me getting physically sick. I started going to a different doctor every day. I stopped going to all of my afternoon school activities. And every doctor I went to had a new diagnosis. Every breath I took was of a dense, frustrated air. The thing is, my body was slowly shutting down, and even my heart started working with difficulty. My body was deteriorated, and I didn't know how. As I said, I had a lot of different diagnoses and several trips to the hospital. They gave my condition many names, but they were never really sure how. And even at the age of 15, I had already had 6 biopsies performed on my body. Well, but at the same time, I was living with anxiety, and I was never truly happy. I was in a toxic relationship with all of them. Every day, they diminished me, they manipulated me, and they let me down. They wrapped my head around their finger, and they showed me how dark the world really was, or at least it could be. My worries became more powerful and stronger. They started controlling me more, and they became triggered by food. I lost control over my body, and then I lost control over my mind too. I became focused with everything I ate being pure and beneficial to me, I wanted to be the healthiest. I wanted to have the most nutrients. I wanted to be the best I could. But then I started counting calories as well, and food became the center of my universe. Then I was diagnosed with orthorexia. I was slowly killing myself, and by definition, orthorexia is a condition that includes symptoms of obsessive behavior in pursuit of a healthy diet. Orthorexia sufferers often display signs and symptoms of anxiety disorders that frequently co-occur with eating disorders. A person with orthorexia will be obsessed with defining and maintaining the perfect diet rather than an ideal weight. It is an unhealthy pursuit of a healthy diet. So, I've opened up to you, but that doesn't make me any more important. In fact, I'm not. But the thing is, what makes me feel special is that I am currently winning my battles, surpassing what I and many others did not think I could do, neither physically nor mentally. So, I remember that in one of my most desperate times, I started seeking relief in any alternative way. Even my mom was desperate too. And she made me go to a retreat once. I remember that there I was told someone died, and I went to the funeral. Strangely enough, I was encouraged to look inside the casket. When I did, who I saw was me. That day, that impacted me a lot. And that day, I decided to kill all that part of me that was negative. I forced myself to actually love myself and tried to show a united, strong front against life. You see, that day I was beginning to feel happy and it felt good. I entered a new world, and this time I let my family come with me. My mom became my strongest supporter and my strongest rock as well. She knew I suffered even though she couldn't feel what I felt, but she still knew I suffered. So I'd like for all of you to remember that you should always try to open yourself to others, even though you might not always know what they're going through. But when they're struggling, they won't tell you. And at the end, don't we all deserve it? I mean, using force is never good, yet a hug always feels great. Ask yourself, if I die today, who will be happy to have known me? I have come to realize that life isn't, I set a destination for myself. Yet I realized that it's the journey, as the saying goes, that it's not about the journey, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I still travel, and after embarking on this journey, I feel stronger every day. And I've faced many struggles, but I've come to see these struggles and challenges more as bricks that help to put on the road to help me out in the long run. So, whenever I'm feeling down, there are 6 things I try to remember, and I hope they can help you out as well. So, the first one is, even if you fail, don't stop. And instead of focusing on that failure, try to tell yourself, not yet, and just work harder and try to make yourself feel better. Second of all, this is hard, but it's true. Don't rely on others for your own happiness, because at the end, the only person with your best interest at heart is you. And if you keep on waiting for somebody, it's probable that no one can actually make you happy. So don't keep on waiting, because you will, and then it will be sad to lose hope. Third, when you need it, just let yourself vent and feel. You can get consumed easily otherwise. Don't underestimate the power of breathing. Fourth, what if I fail? I mean, you ask yourself this all the time. Look at me now. I was terrified before coming on stage here, but when you ask yourself, what if I fail? Then, what if you succeed? I mean, a little bit of self-doubt can always be a bit ambitious, can help keep you ambitious. So, look at it as a risk you're willing to take, and think about the good that will come out of it. 5, and relate it to the other one. This is hard, but try to focus on your successes instead of your failures. Try to remember the good things that came from the positive and not the ugly from the bad. Try to make a list for yourself. Number all your successes. And then just think about making that list bigger. And the last one is there's someone you always have to remember to be nice to, even if you don't like it, because you'll be stuck with them for the rest of your life. Make them your best friend instead of your worst enemy. And that's you. The Buddha once said, you yourself as much as anyone else deserve your own love and affection. Throughout my journey, I've thought a lot about the Buddha and his wisdom. At first, I thought it was impossible to apply his teachings to my everyday life, yet I've come to understand it isn't. You just have to modify them, and it will make you happier. You see, focusing on what you lack won't make you any better. It will just trigger worse thoughts. So, it took me a long time to believe I was worthy, but I believe we all are. The times I thought I couldn't outweigh by far the times I thought I could. I was in deep in the rabbit hole, but then I think about the destination. I think about the goal I've set to myself, and I think that I deserve it. Then I breathe, and I think it out, and again I say I deserve it. I remind it is why I do things, and think that I deserve it, because, as I said before, we all do. Then, this helps me move forward. I want to encourage you to think about yourself and think about yourself as a better way, because it brings more power to your life, and your life changes for the better. There was a time where I took 17 pills a day. I was instructed on what to eat, when to eat. I had to cut out all food allergens. Gluten, soy, dairy, eggs. There was very little variety in my diet, and I was monitored in every way possible. Yet, I wasn't at all better. I was ugly, weak, sad, malnourished, underweight. And I did not get any better until I told myself I was not broken. The most improvement actually came out of a psychiatrist, who encouraged me, as the cliche goes, to stop worrying and actually stop living. So I took a chance, and I stopped seeing all doctors, and I stopped believing I was sick, because that only made things worse. I started over, no medicine, no nothing, and look at how much better I am now. So, to get closer to this talk, I hope you have learned something, and that you can take it home and apply it to your life. Be it self-love is a good medicine, or let yourself be helped, but don't rely on others for your own happiness. And last but not least, set a goal for yourself. Pursue it no matter what. If you fail, then just try harder and continue going, because we all struggle in life, but at the end, it's worth it. And so, you will see a new world to live in. Thank you for listening to me.